Welcome to our video, Identify and Connect to Your Customer. My name is Heather Heath and I am the UW host for this challenge. Now that you have taken some time to identify problems, you have talked to potential customers to really understand how they experience the problem, and have begun to identify solutions with a strong value proposition, it's now time to identify your customer and start to think about how you can reach them. Marketing is everything you do to identify and connect to your potential customers. Your market is a specific group of people who need and will buy your product. Your market may not just be a specific person, though. It can also be a business, a government entity, or maybe a nonprofit. For example, if you are selling surfboards, you wouldn't sell your product to a person or business that lives in a landlocked state. You would sell your product to someone who lives in a coastal state, like California or Florida. For a social enterprise, your customer is a little different. Your business model would serve a community need, and your customer would be those individuals, governments, and foundations that want to see that social need met. Your consumer is the one that utilizes the product or service from the customer. It's all about appeasing both parties, the customer and the consumer. For example, a social enterprise such as Climb Wyoming, the customer is the governmental agencies and the donors who pay for the program and see the social benefit for their communities. The consumers are the people who actually go through the programs once they're provided by the governmental agencies. Empathy is essential when deciding who your customer will be. It's all about being aware of others' feelings and needs and keeping them in mind when you are trying to solve their problem. You really want to try to get into your customer's shoes. I had a chance to visit with Lindsey McCoy with Crave Nutrition RD and Luke Knudson with the Old General Store Antiques this week. Let's hear what they had to say about identifying and connecting to your customer. So, Lindsey, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started with your business?
Hi, yes. So my name is Lindsey McCoy. I'm a registered dietitian and owner of Crave Nutrition RD in Cheyenne, Wyoming. It's a private nutrition counseling practice. And I've actually been a registered dietitian for about 4 years now, and I worked in clinics in South Carolina, actually. And that got me my first experience as a dietitian, what it meant to kind of practice like that, how to work as a clinician and interact with clients.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved to Wyoming in 2019, I just kind of knew that there was opportunity. I knew that there are roles for dietitians in healthcare. Some dietitians open their own practice, but there's also a lot of just entrepreneurial opportunity for dietitians. So when I moved to Wyoming, it was just a natural transition in my career, and it's decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump in feet first and let's see what happens. So I opened my private practice in Cheyenne in September of 2019. So it's still less than a year old.
Can you talk a little bit about how you identified a problem and came up with a solution for it?
Yeah. So as a registered dietitian, having a few years of practice experience sort of under my belt, I know the state of health in our country is a little bit suboptimal. And nutrition can really make a significant impact in our health, especially in chronic disease prevention and management. And by that, I mean chronic diseases like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol or triglycerides. And so I just knew from my own practice experience that this was a problem that exists. And so moving to Wyoming, I mean, Wyoming's not a vacuum. We have the same problems that the rest of the country does. But I did notice that there really was not a lot of dietitians offering outpatient services here. So I knew from my own experience that people face these health problems. I've already worked in that capacity to help people prevent or manage these health problems. And now there was an opportunity to do so in a new area because I had looked around and just saw that there wasn't really anybody doing that here in an outpatient setting. And what I mean by that is like when you go to your doctor's office, you have a visit, you go home in the same day. You can do that with a dietitian too and get nutrition advice.
Awesome. That's great. So where did you start in order to find your customer?
Ooh, what a good question. So when we think about nutrition, I mean, nutrition can help so many people in so many ways. And as I'm only one person in Cheyenne, I can't help everybody do all the things. So I really had to narrow it down. And first of all, it's looking at, well, how do I want to use nutrition to help people? So from my own background, I just thought through, who were the people that I enjoyed working with most? What problems did I help people enjoy solving the most? I think we all have experiences where when we're working, we connect with people, we solve a problem, we feel really good about it. The person that has their problem solved feels really good about it. And so thinking of those examples, like I can think through some past clients of mine that really needed to better manage their blood sugar specifically. And I just love working with blood sugar. So I don't really help people with like pregnancy nutrition. I don't help with pediatric nutrition. I don't help with like kidney disease. I decided I really like blood sugar. I like helping people with blood sugar. So I first narrowed down, what the heck am I going to focus on, from just nutrition to, okay, nutrition for better blood sugar. And then I started, how did I connect with my customer after that? So part of that came from putting yourself out there and saying, hey, this is exactly how I help. I am registered and credentialed with several insurance companies. So I'm on provider databases. I've put up my own website. I have social media channels that all have content tailored to better blood sugar management.
Luke, could you tell us a little bit about how you got started?
Yeah, I can. So I've actually been in this quite a while now. I started buying antiques when I was 4 years old and started selling them when I was 8, starting selling just at yard sales and, a little bit online, just some small stuff. And when I was 12, when I was 10, I rented a small booth at a local antique mall and started from there. I started with one shelf in the basement and quickly had an entire wall and did decently well at that. So when I was 12, I decided to sign a commercial lease for the storefront that my business is currently in, and opened the shop when I was 13. During that period of time between when I was 12 and when I was 13, the landlord of the building, as well as myself, restored it. You can't see much of it in the video here, but it's a historic turn of the century building. Originally was a liquor wholesale store and had a brothel upstairs, and also was connected with a large network of tunnels underneath Main Street that was used for a whole bunch of different uses, but just kind of a neat bit of history with even the structure that I'm in. And anyway, so I opened the store when I was 13, and I've had it almost 5 years now.
Well, that's great to hear. That's awesome. So now that you have gotten up and running as a business, what have you learned to help you connect better to your target market?
Well, there's quite a number of different answers to that. Most of my age demographic with my customers is predominantly 45 to 75 years old. I get a surprisingly few number of people under 30 in here. It does happen, but just not nearly as frequently as I get, middle-aged and older people. So with that being said, social media is a bit harder to do, of course, with that. So in years past, I've relied quite a bit on just simply, window displays and kind of word of mouth. But I've also, for some of the younger people and also older people that are on Facebook, I have done quite a bit of promotional stuff on Facebook, videos of the store specials. I try to make a post there at least every 2 or 3 weeks, showing what's come into the store and, highlighting various decades and time periods that we're currently, exhibiting in the store, and just, trying to garner people's interest as much as possible. And, my market's somewhat unique in that people seem to find you if they're looking for something. It very rarely is it just an impulsive walk-in thing. It's typically people with purpose coming in.
So is there any things that are aspects of your business that have surprised you as you've gotten moving and had your storefront for so many years?
Well, there's been a number of surprises, really with how much dedication and time is really involved. Many people think that owning a retail store is just simply opening your doors and counting the money at the end of the day and making a deposit, which I quite honestly had some visions of when I was first starting. And while that is true, there's a great number of other things that a company that you have to do. Right now in the video here, you see kind of my clerking area at the store. All these index files behind me represent a consignor that I have in the store. So I have to do all the bookwork every month for all the consignors that sell in here. And a consignor, for those that don't know, are people that bring something in to me and basically contract me to sell it for them. And I keep 30% of the proceeds when it does sell. So it's a way for me to greatly add to my inventory without actually having to purchase it. And it's also good for them because they are able to sell their stuff without having to create an entire platform as I have done here. But anyways, just all the bookwork and people managing and everything like that. It just there's a number of challenges that way.
Use the creative ideas and platforms you've gained through your generation to help you find your target customer. For example, does social media play a role in your target market? Think about how people of different ages use Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to market their products on these platforms. If you are using social media to target your audience, make sure to think about how your customers will become aware and learn about your product or service. Let's hear and see how Lindsey McCoy and Luke Knudson use social media to target their audience. So what forms of social media do you use to target your customer?
A few. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook as social media, and they're both very different in terms of the audience and who you're talking to and how you kind of speak to that individual. So I've decided on those two. I mean, if we're talking to young entrepreneurs, I'm sure we all know there's plenty of social media channels out there. So first it was kind of deciding which ones do I think my audience would be on. And generally speaking, like my audience talking about better blood sugar is probably not on TikTok. That's a little bit of a younger crowd. And so first of all, it's knowing who your audience is, who are you trying to talk to, and where are they? So I decided Facebook and Instagram are where my audience is most likely to be.
Here is Lindsey McCoy's Instagram page for Crave Nutrition RD. At the top where I'm circling are her previously posted stories. She utilizes this feature to take polls and surveys of her followers. She also posts meal prep options for her followers to use. And you can find information regarding her upcoming podcast here as well. So do you use other forms of social media other than Facebook, or is that your main form of social media that you use to connect with your customer?
You know what, Facebook, well, getting back to the age demographic that I mentioned earlier, with people being in their 40s to their 70s, that's predominantly Facebook as far as social media goes. So I use Facebook predominantly for advertising for the store, but every once in a while, you'll see a YouTube video or, Google ads and things like that, but predominantly Facebook.
Here is Luke Knutson's Facebook page for the Old General Store Antiques. On the left side, you can see tabs where he has his posts, reviews from customers, places for photos and videos, and the about information for his business. Let's scroll down and watch a video to see what the inside of Luke's business looks like. Try out the pain gain exercise included in this module. This exercise is used to draw out the most important characteristics of your customer. If you're looking to influence your customers, think about what they're running from or moving toward and address those needs. This exercise is a great way to get you started. Click on the next video in this module to learn about conducting primary and secondary market research on your customer.